So we got there quite a few days before Mania, so we did quite a lot of stuff before we went there. One of which was WWE World, which is the big convention thing. Been before, back in when I went to Miami, WrestleMania, but this one, I mean, they've gone to another level. Now, luckily for us, we went on the Friday, not the Thursday. I just thought the Thursday was going to be absolutely rammed, and judging by the queues, I was right to do so. So when you get there, you have the choice of going to the Superstar queue, or you go straight into World queue. And we did that one, which was significantly shorter, and it was a good idea because we managed to catch Pat McAfee live at 9 a.m. So we got in the little huddle for that, about 7 or 8 rows from the front. If you look really carefully at some points, you can see us giving it all that. Now, what was cool about that was we caught Roman Reigns, we caught Triple H, and we caught Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was absolutely wild to me. Absolute icons for me, as you can see. And that was amazing. And when I went to the toilet, Triple H nearly ran me over in his golf cart when he was getting transported. And he gave us the click sign, which was dead cool. So after that, we had a little mooch around, went through the Triple H exhibit. All the photos, very cool, would highly recommend it. And then it was about 12 o'clock and we saw the ring in the middle of the centre and we thought, maybe there's going to be some action there. Found the timetable, NXT Live. So we just pitched up right against it, ringside for that. Some clips here. That was a cool experience. Obviously, my wife Helen had never seen wrestling without commentary. So I was like, this is good prep for WrestleMania. You're not going to get any commentary, you're just going to see it. And to be fair, even though they are the rookies, if you like, you couldn't see through the stuff at all. It was proper stiff, some of it, so props to them because you were literally 10 meters off them, but you couldn't see through it. So yeah, that was very cool. Then we had to queue to get in the Superstore. They had a queue miles long from 8 a.m. till we left at 2 p.m. The amount of money they must have brought in from that, the mind boggles if you think it was run for 5-6 days and the queues were there throughout, and they kept that Superstore up until midnight, by the way. Mad. We spent $90 or so, something like that. Could have been a lot less, but my wife was too honest. I didn't total up one of our shirts because they're the same shirts. But then she was like, oh, you forgot a shirt? And I'm like, we didn't even buy that much, but they've made enough out of us. If you think an average spend per person was probably at least $150. So a couple of days before that, we went to WrestleCon, which was on a different side of Vegas in the Westgate. And the only reason I went really was to get a photo with Bret Hart. There it is. And if you notice, I've got the lamest looking handshake ever, but it was very cool to meet him. Queued about 20 minutes, nothing crazy, but you were literally in, photo, out. But he was nice. He said to Helen, thanks for coming. He probably couldn't believe his eyes because she was like the only girl there in a pink dress and not a big dude in a black t-shirt. On the morning, we made the decision that while we were there, we might as well meet Mick Foley as well, which was dead cool. And his eyes literally popped out of his head when he saw Helen, and what a guy he was. He said to her, you look great. He was really good. He was really cool. But as you can see from this photo, he didn't really know that I existed. Had a little wander around the WrestleCon hall, but I really struggle with these things because you've got, I don't know if you've been to these before, but you've got tables and tables of wrestlers, independent wrestlers, more famous wrestlers, and you queue up, get to get an autograph or a photo with them. But I struggle when I see the dudes who have no queue and they're just sat there. Very much like the scene from The Wrestler where they just look like, what am I doing here? Honky Tonk Man had no queue, for example. But then on the flip side, Paige had a queue for miles long. And this is a theme because Mina Shirakawa from AEW fame, miles long. So basically, you've got all these big, horny male wrestling fans trying to get pictures with female wrestlers. Little bit gross. But then the day arrived for Mania Day 1. Now, the gates opened supposedly at 2. So I'm like, how busy is this going to be? I had the cheeky thought in my head that if we get there early, maybe we could get upgraded. Stupid thought, I know, but we did. We went up just before 1. So they had the pre-show in the parking lot with Pat McAfee, Michael Cole, Big E and Wade. Watched a bit of that. Then I noticed the queues were getting bigger. So we made our way over there, got in the queues. And this is where it went to tits up, because they had these queues, but there was no like bollards to separate you. It was snaking like that. You had no idea where to go. You had little dudes running around saying, no, you can't queue there, you can't queue there. It's Vegas heat. Everyone's getting stroppy. They were like half an hour late letting you in. Once you got in, not a problem. Straight to up the stairs, well signposted, and we went down the stairs, and our seats. Video probably doesn't do it justice because we were a lot closer than the video makes you see, but great view of the ring. Great view of the entranceway, and having been before, it was nice to see that we didn't have those massive bollards on either side of the ring because Vegas Stadium's new and there's a roof. We didn't need the massive contraptions each corner of the ring, so nobody had a bad view. It was great. I was looking around and behind me was Brian Alvarez, about 4 or 5 rows back from Wrestling Observer fame, so he was there in attendance, which was pretty cool. The atmosphere was amazing, especially when they're starting off with Jay in that match with Gunter. Decent little match. It was all about the outcome really and the atmosphere. Thought they did that really well. Massive come down in the next match. It was a bit of a death spot coming off such a high match. And then you've got the tag team match, War Raiders New Day. Crowd didn't care. They did not care. The amount of people that after one match that got up and went to the toilet, staggering, bladders. But the undercard was okay overall. I enjoyed it, and for a 4-hour show, this went really fast. I was expecting all the breaks to mean that it proper lagged, but it was a lot faster than I remember, so I loved it. And then we got to the main event, and the crowd was ballistic, and it was the match of the night. It was fantastic, and this is the difference when we get on to night 2, because if you leave night 1 on such a high after such a good match, you remember it more fondly. So I remember that entire night fantastically. The twist, people saw it coming. There was a build in the crowd coming, but when it happened, it still made it even more shocking. So most people wanted Punk to win, I think. He seemed to be the most popular guy there, but it was minimal between him and Roman. Then we get to night 2, and we say to ourselves, right, let's just go a little bit later, because the guy next to us said that he got there at 2:30 the day before and just walked straight in. So that was our method. But when we got there was 2 sets of queues, and we ended up right at the back, and it was a snake again. This one went really tits up, because when they opened the gate this time, the snake queue disintegrated and everyone just bombed forward. Shit show. But again, once you got past that, the atmosphere was electric. What I love about wrestling crowds is, unlike like football crowds and that, where they're basically a bunch of knobheads, wrestling crowds are all in it together. There's high fives going around, people taking pictures of each other. Undercard, amazing. First match with the ladies, Rhea, Bianca, Io, fan-bloody-tastic. If the triple threat match from the night before hadn't existed, that one would probably be the best match of the weekend. And then the 4-way, it's funny this, because people were not looking forward to all the multi-person matches, but they were probably the best ones over the weekend, the 2 triple threats and the fatal 4-way. That shit, when Dom won, was loud AF. Big anticipation for the Randy Orton match. Most people thought it was going to be Rusev, big Rusev shouts, which went in the favour of Joe Hendry when he came out, because the pop was gigantic. Fun match, everyone loved it. Don't understand the criticism, because it was fantastic, and he's came out himself and said that he loved it, and it was the way to go, and it was perfect. So yeah, good undercard. Go into it in more detail if we ever do another one of these. But then the main event. Now, unlike the main event of night 1 where it left everyone thinking great show, this had the opposite effect. I will say this though, it was loud as hell. Dueling chants, just a buzz continuously throughout the match. I actually vibed with the slow, deliberate pace from Cena. It actually fit perfectly into the gimmick that he's portraying at the minute, and it helps him because he can't do as much as he used to. So I actually enjoyed the way he did it. But the end, as soon as that music hit, we're all expecting Travis Scott to walk a little bit, stop, look back, and then rock. But as he got further and further down the ring, the crowd noise went down and down and down. If that was the best they came up with, the crowd was dead after that. Everyone just hung around. They popped for the win because it was seen as 17th. You've witnessed history. But as people were leaving, more people were standing still waiting for, he's going to come out, surely The Rock's going to come out. And then when Cena made his way up the ramp there, realization kicked in, and that's when the sour taste hit. I don't get it. They could very easily have done the Cena heel turn without any of this. You wouldn't even need The Rock or Travis Scott. It would have worked perfectly. Instead, they've left this bitter taste. But it was redeemed the next night. So during Mania Night 2, I think it was the Drew Damian Priest match, I went on StubHub, looked through the tickets, and saw a second row ticket for Raw. 2 second row tickets for Raw. Took the plunge, spent some of my money that I probably shouldn't have done. But I was like, I'm never going to get a second row ticket for this value again. So I did it. We got there, onto the floor. The view was insanely good. What it has done is it made me really want to get ringside at some point in the future, but the dream lives on. That night on Raw was superb. They had to do it that way to make it that hot to dispel the bad aura of the night before. It's mad that they got themselves into that situation, but I had moderate expectations going into Raw because the last Raw after Mania, the last good one, was years ago. I was probably there when Brock came back for the post-Miami one, but this one, from start to finish, was blooming fantastic. So it's intriguing now with the Paul Heyman, Seth Rollins, Braun setup. Will we have a new Dangerous Alliance? If you know what that is, you're on my age length, so respect to you. We might do a video about that. Who could be in the new Dangerous Alliance? I do have some thoughts about it, including somebody who's out injured at the minute, who has history with Seth. I think he could come back if he's ready and slot straight into that. But that was our Mania week after a hell of a day travelling, which I'm still recovering from, as you can probably tell. What a week.